Imagine a world where your worth is constantly questioned, your dignity undermined, and your heart bruised by those who dared to stand above you, not because they were taller in virtue, but because they found pleasure in casting shadows over your light. Imagine walking among people who whispered your name not with admiration but with scorn, who measured your value not by your soul, but by their narrow perception of success, power, and pride. And yet, despite their disdain, you carried yourself, not perfectly, not without wounds, but with a quiet endurance, holding on when you had every reason to let go. There is something profoundly sacred about the soul that refuses to collapse beneath the weight of rejection. Something divine about the heart that, though shattered, beats still with hope. Have you ever asked yourself, why does God allow the mockery? Why does He permit the fall, the humiliation, the stripping away of honor in front of those who revel in our pain? Could it be that the fall is not the end but the beginning of something higher? Could it be that what looks like defeat is merely the setup for a divine reversal? There are moments in life that feel like the grave, hopeless, cold, buried. You've been there, haven't you? You've felt the sting of betrayal when someone you trusted turned their back on you, when they spoke ill of you, when they made you feel small so they could feel significant. Their words didn't just hurt, they echoed inside your spirit, making you question your purpose, your calling, your very existence. Perhaps you cried in silence because no one knew how deep the wound went. And the worst part, they seemed to prosper. They laughed, they stood tall, and you fell. But let me ask you this. What if God allowed your fall not to destroy you, but to lift you in a way that no man can deny, so that those who mocked you would one day witness your elevation and be silenced? What if the very act of being put down was part of a higher orchestration, a masterpiece of justice written by the hand of God? You see, we often want immediate vindication. We want justice to come swiftly, for the tables to turn in our time, but divine timing is not governed by human clocks. When God prepares to lift you up, He does not simply raise you, He exalts you. He sets you on high in the sight of those who laughed, not so you can mock them in return, but so that truth is revealed and glory is restored. The shame they tried to cast on you, God is about to return it to them, not with vengeance, but with justice so clear, so undeniable that their own conscience will tremble. Can you sense it? That stirring in your spirit, that whisper in your heart, telling you that your days of humiliation are numbered, that the pain was not in vain, that the God who saw your tears is now preparing your throne? So many have tried to bury you, but what they didn't realize is that you were a seed. And seeds, though covered in dirt, though forgotten, rise again, stronger, greater, reaching for the heavens. And now your time has come. God is lifting you up, not just for you, but to make a statement, a divine statement to those who said you'd never rise, never succeed, never matter. Your rise is not just personal, it is prophetic. It is the answer to every scoffer, every betrayer, every mocker. Your fall was seen by God, and so will be your rise. There is a unique kind of pain that comes not just from falling, but from falling in front of those who celebrated your collapse. It's one thing to stumble in private, to carry the weight of your own failures in silence. But it's an entirely different torment when your breaking is public, when your enemies, your critics, your so-called friends watch as your world unravels and feel no compassion, only pleasure. Do you remember that moment? That precise instant when everything you had worked for began to crumble. Perhaps it was a dream you gave your heart to, only to see it shattered, or a relationship you poured your soul into, only to be abandoned and betrayed. Or maybe it was your reputation, carefully built over time, torn down by the lies and slander of those who envied your light. And while you stood in the ashes of what once was, they laughed, they whispered, they judged, they mocked, and there you were, humiliated, vulnerable, broken. It felt like no one saw your pain, like no one cared, but God did. In those moments when you sat alone, questioning your worth, asking why this was happening to you, God was there. When the tears fell silently at night, soaking your pillow while the world slept, God was awake, watching, feeling every tear as if it were his own. And when you cried out in frustration, wondering if your prayers were hitting empty skies, he was listening. Not one sigh, not one groan of your spirit escaped his notice. You see, your fall was not a random act of cruelty. It was not overlooked by the heavens. The very God who formed you in the secret place, who knew you before the foundation of the world, he saw you fall. And not only did he see it, he allowed it, not to destroy you, but to position you for something greater, because what is seen by God is never forgotten, and what he allows, he also redeems. The eyes that watched you fall in hatred will one day see you rise in glory. The same people who used your pain as entertainment, who pointed fingers at your brokenness, they will be the ones standing in stunned silence when God lifts you. And make no mistake, he will lift you, not in secret, not in a corner, but in the open for all to see. But why does God allow this? Why permit such humiliation? Because your life is meant to tell a story, not just of pain, but of restoration, of divine justice, of glory rising from the dirt. And for that story to have weight, the fall must be seen, so that the rise can be undeniable. If you had never been broken publicly, your elevation wouldn't carry the same power. If they hadn't mocked you, they wouldn't be there to witness your vindication. And God desires to write such a profound reversal in your life that those who doubted you will be silenced, not by your words, but by your transformation. Can you feel it? The shifting of seasons in your soul, the trembling of the ground beneath your feet as God begins to move. You may have thought you were abandoned, that your fall was the end, but it was the beginning of your rise, and the eyes of those who scorned you will not be able to look away. There is something sacred about a fall witnessed by others. It sets the stage for a rise so divine that even your enemies will declare, surely God was with them. They saw your pain, now they will see your power. They witnessed your breaking, now they will witness your breakthrough. And through it all, God saw it first. He saw it before they did, and he's been preparing your rise, not just for you, but for them to see and be silenced. Words are powerful. They have the ability to build, but they also have the power to destroy. And perhaps what hurt you most wasn't the event itself, but the words that followed it, the ones spoken behind your back, cold, sharp, unforgiving, the ones whispered in circles you once trusted, the laughter that erupted when your name was mentioned, the smug tones, the shaking heads, the phrases that began with, "I always knew they'd fail," or "they were never going to make it." You heard them, didn't you? Or maybe you didn't hear them with your ears, but you felt them, cutting into your spirit like knives, making you question everything you believed about yourself. You were already wounded, already trying to find the strength to stand after falling, and yet instead of support, you were met with judgment. Instead of empathy, you received ridicule. There were people who were supposed to lift you, who were supposed to speak life into you, but they chose doubt, and that doubt wasn't silent. It echoed in your mind, played on repeat, became a burden heavier than the pain you were already carrying. You see, doubt has a way of trying to rewrite your identity. When people question your ability, your worth, your destiny, it can seep into your soul and begin to corrupt your own self-perception. You start to wonder, were they right? Maybe I am not enough. Maybe I'll never recover. Maybe this failure defines me. And that's the trap. That's what those words were meant to do. Not just hurt you, but keep you down. To convince you that rising again is not for you. But let me tell you this. God is not silent about the words spoken against you. He is not blind to the impact they had on your heart. And in His infinite power, He is turning every word of doubt into fuel for your elevation. The very voices that tried to confine you will be the ones that witness your freedom. The words that tried to chain you to your past will become the background noise to your future victory. Their doubt, their mockery, it didn't weaken you, though it tried. Instead, it became a fire inside of you, a quiet resolve to rise, not to prove them wrong, but because God placed greatness in you, and no man's opinion can silence that call. Their words didn't stop your destiny, they propelled it. The more they doubted, the more God prepared. The more they tried to tear you down, the higher He planned to lift you. And when your moment of elevation comes, it will be undeniable. Their words will turn to silence, their judgment will become regret. And not because you fought back or argued your worth, but because God will make your success visible. The doubt they spoke will become the testimony of how far you've come. Their mockery will serve as the backdrop to your triumph. So remember this, every word they spoke was a seed, not of destruction, but of growth. What they intended for harm, God is using for good. They tried to break you, but they ended up becoming part of your rise. And when they see you walking in the light of your calling, they will have no choice but to remember every word of doubt they ever spoke and witness how wrong they were. Their voices were loud then, but your success will be louder. One of the hardest things you've had to endure wasn't just the betrayal, the loss, or the ridicule. It was the waiting, the endless stretch of time where you looked for change, searched for answers, and prayed for justice, yet nothing seemed to move. Day after day you waited for a breakthrough, for vindication, for some sign that your suffering was not in vain, but all you received was silence. The silence became deafening. It made you wonder, has God forgotten me? Has He turned His face away from my pain? Does He not see the way they're laughing at me? The way they've cast me aside like I was nothing? You saw your enemies thrive. You watched as they stood tall, enjoying life, their heads held high, while you were buried beneath the weight of humiliation and despair. And the longer it went on, the more you questioned not just them, but your own worth, your purpose, even your faith. But what if the silence was not absence? What if the delay was not neglect, but preparation? You see, God is never late, but He is rarely early. His timing isn't like ours. We want immediate justice. We want restoration the moment we fall. But God, in His infinite wisdom, is not bound by urgency. He is governed by impact. When He lifts you up, it is never hasty, never rushed, never small. It is precise, calculated, and designed to leave a mark not only on your life, but on the hearts of those who doubted you. Think about it. If God had lifted you too soon, would they have noticed? If He had restored you when you wanted, would the impact have been felt? The pain, the delay, the waiting? It wasn't to break you. It was to set the stage for something undeniable. God's justice is not subtle. When He moves, it is loud, it is public, it is irrefutable. The timing of your rise is not just about you, it's about the audience. Those who mocked you, who said you'd never make it, they are watching, and God allowed the time to pass. Not because He didn't care, but because He wanted them to be fully convinced that you were finished, so that when He lifts you there will be no room for doubt. The fall was visible, yes, but so will be the rise, and it will come when it matters most, when the contrast between your past and your present is so stark, so undeniable, that no one can deny the hand of God in your life. There is maximum impact in divine timing. God wanted you to grow in the silence, to build strength in the waiting, to develop a resilience that cannot be shaken. He wanted your enemies to watch long enough that their confidence in your failure became certain, so that when He lifts you, their shame is complete. Not out of cruelty, but to teach them, to show them that no man's word is final. Only God's word stands. And now the wait is coming to an end. Not because you demanded it, but because the time is right. Everything they thought they took from you, God is about to return it. Multiplied, magnified, and displayed. The tables are turning, not slowly, not quietly, but with a force that only divine timing can bring. What you thought was a delay was actually a divine setup, an orchestration beyond your understanding, because God's timing ensures that when you rise, the world takes notice. There is a humiliation that cuts deeper than any wound, a kind of shame that lingers long after the moment has passed. It's not just the embarrassment of failure, it's the public exposure of your weakness, the stripping away of dignity in front of eyes that once admired you, trusted you, perhaps even loved you. It's when people see you at your lowest, when your defeat becomes a story told in hushed tones and mocking laughter. That is the kind of humiliation that doesn't just touch your pride, it buries your spirit. Maybe you experienced it in a relationship where you gave everything, only to be discarded like you never mattered. Maybe you invested your time, your energy, your heart, and in return, you were betrayed, belittled, and left to pick up the pieces alone. Or perhaps it happened in your career or your family, where you were judged unfairly, blamed for things beyond your control, and shamed in front of those who once respected you. The memory of it lingers, the sting of their words, the looks of pity or contempt, the way people started treating you like less than you are. You've carried that humiliation like a weight chained to your soul, haven't you? You've replayed the scenes in your mind, wondering what you could have done differently, questioning your worth, your choices, your very identity. There's a voice that tries to convince you that this shame defines you, that it's the final chapter of your story. But that is a lie, because God does not allow humiliation without purpose. What the enemy meant to use as your destruction, God is preparing to use as your testimony. The very moments that broke you, that exposed you, that made you feel worthless, those are the moments that He will turn into evidence of His power in your life. Your shame will not be wasted, it will not be forgotten, it will be redeemed. You see, a testimony cannot exist without a trial. The stories that move others, that inspire, that change lives, they are born from pain, from loss, from deep valleys, and yours is no different. That humiliation you endured, the public disgrace, the tears you cried in the dark, it will become the platform from which God displays His glory through you. People saw your fall, now they will see your rise. And when they do, they won't just see your success. They'll see the journey, the struggle, the raw reality of what you went through. And that is what will make your testimony so powerful. Because you didn't just survive, you overcame. You didn't just endure, you were transformed. There is power in your scars. They speak of a battle fought and won, of a soul that refused to be crushed. And when you share your story, when people see where you came from, what you survived, and how God lifted you from the pit to the promise, it will silence every lie, every doubt, every judgment. Your humiliation will become the very proof that God's hand was always on you. The ones who mocked you will witness your restoration. The ones who spread your shame will hear your testimony, and they will not be able to deny it, because what once was used to break you is now being used to bless you and others. Your humiliation is not your end. It's the beginning of a new story, one that God Himself is writing, and when He writes it, nothing and no one can erase it. There is a pain deeper than words can describe, a pain that comes not from strangers, but from those closest to you, the ones who once walked beside you and now stand against you. They saw you struggle, yet instead of offering a hand, they offered judgment. They saw you fall, and instead of covering your shame, they exposed it. They rejoiced in your suffering, believing it marked your end. You remember the looks, the condescending glances, the smirks, the dismissive words that cut through your soul. They'll never recover. Look at them now, how far they've fallen. These weren't just passing comments, they were verdicts spoken over your life, words intended to bury you, to keep you down, to define you by your lowest moment. They assumed your pain would consume you, that you'd stay in the ashes, forgotten and discarded. But what they didn't realize is that you were never alone. God was with you in every tear, in every sleepless night, in every silent cry for help. He saw the mockery, He heard the laughter, He felt your humiliation, and while they thought you were finished, He was just getting started. There is a transformation coming, not subtle, not hidden, but so powerful, so undeniable, that even your enemies will be silenced. You see, when God lifts someone, He doesn't do it in secret. He prepares a table in the presence of your enemies, not to taunt them, but to reveal that His favor overrides their judgment. Your life, broken and scarred as it may be, is about to become a living testimony of what divine intervention looks like, and they, the ones who put you down, they will be forced to watch, not because you seek revenge, not because you want to prove them wrong, but because God wants to show them that their words had no power over your destiny. He wants them to see the difference between human judgment and divine justice. Can you imagine it? The very people who laughed at your fall, now speechless at your rise. The same mouths that spread rumors, now unable to explain your success. The ones who turned their backs on you, now unable to look you in the eye, not because you hold bitterness, but because your transformation is too profound, too radiant, too holy to deny. And the beauty of it is that you won't have to say a word. Your life will speak for itself. The glow in your spirit, the peace in your heart, the blessings surrounding you, they will all testify to the miracle of your restoration. Their voices, once so loud in criticism, will fall silent in awe. Because God doesn't just restore, He elevates. He takes what was broken and makes it beautiful. He takes what was despised and makes it honored. And in doing so, He ensures that those who scorned you will witness every moment of your transformation. They will be present, not as participants, but as spectators, watching as the one they once dismissed becomes a beacon of grace, strength, and divine favor. This is not just about your healing, it's about the revelation of truth. Truth that God never abandoned you, truth that you were chosen, and truth that nothing spoken against you could override His plan. And when they see it, when they finally see what God has done, there will be nothing left for them to say. Your transformation will silence every voice that tried to keep you down. There are moments in life when injustice seems to reign, moments when you've done everything right, loved sincerely, given selflessly, served faithfully, only to be wounded, betrayed, and discarded by those you held dear. You didn't ask for the pain, yet it arrived. You didn't deserve the betrayal, yet it found you. And what made it worse was not just the injury itself, but the apparent absence of justice. Where was the fairness when they lied about you? Where was the justice when your name was dragged through the mud while theirs remained clean? Why did it seem like the wicked prospered while you, broken and weary, struggled to survive? These questions burned within you. They echoed through your soul in the quiet hours of the night when no one else could hear. You wanted answers. You wanted justice. You wanted to be seen. And let me tell you this now. God saw it all. Every word spoken behind your back, He heard. Every deceitful act done in secret, He witnessed. Every wound inflicted, He felt. And though it may have seemed like heaven was silent, heaven was taking notes. Because God's justice is not swift and shallow. It is deliberate, deep and undeniable. He does not operate on your timeline, but He never forgets. And when He moves, He makes no mistakes. God's justice is not just about punishing the wicked. It's about vindicating the righteous. It's about lifting those who were pushed down, about restoring those who were torn apart, about making your life a message, a visible, undeniable message that declares to the world that God is not mocked and that His people are not forgotten. You, yes you, are being prepared to become living proof of His justice, not just in words, not in sermons, but in your life, in your transformation, your healing, your elevation. The people who saw you broken will witness your restoration. The ones who said you'd never recover will stand in awe as they watch you rise. And it won't be a quiet rise. It won't be something hidden or secret, no. God is intentional. He will allow your story to unfold before the very eyes of those who thought they had silenced you. Your life will preach a sermon more powerful than any words could deliver. Every blessing, every victory, every door that opens for you will be a visible sign that divine justice has arrived. Do you understand the power of that? You will not need to argue your worth. You will not need to defend your past or explain your pain. God will speak for you through you. Your life will answer every critic, shame every betrayer, and inspire every wounded soul who once believed justice would never come. Because when God makes someone a symbol of His justice, He leaves no doubt. He blesses you publicly. He honors you in the same places where you were humiliated. He lifts you up, not in secret, but in full view of those who tried to bury you. And He makes it clear that no matter what man has said or done, His word stands above all. Your scars will shine as proof, not of your weakness, but of your survival, your strength, and His faithfulness. People will see you and realize that God does not forget the wounded, that He rewards the faithful, that He brings justice in His perfect way, at His perfect time. And the very ones who hurt you, they will see it. They will remember every action, every word, and they will know deep in their hearts that they were wrong, that you were never forsaken, that God has the final say, and that say is justice, not in theory but in you. You will walk proof that justice lives, breathes, and reigns. There are lessons in life that are gentle, taught through words, through experience, through the kindness of others. And then there are lessons that are hard, unavoidable, and unforgettable. Lessons that come not through instruction, but through consequence. The people who wronged you, the ones who tore you down when you only wanted to lift them up, they are about to learn a lesson they cannot escape, and that lesson will come through your elevation. You gave them your trust, and they betrayed it. You gave them love, and they returned it with cruelty. You were loyal, present, kind, and they used your goodness as a weapon against you. They thought your kindness was weakness. They thought your silence was surrender. And in their arrogance, they believed they could step over you, diminish you, and leave you broken, without consequence. But what they didn't see was the hand of God over your life. They didn't realize that while they were plotting your downfall, God was planning your rise. And when God lifts you, He doesn't do it just for you. He does it to teach, to correct, to bring justice in a way that pierces the heart and convicts the soul. They could ignore your pain, they could dismiss your cries, they could pretend they did nothing wrong, but what they cannot ignore, what they cannot escape, is your rise. Your elevation will haunt them. Not because you seek vengeance, not because you retaliated, but because your success will stand as a mirror they cannot look away from. They will be forced to face what they did to you, not through confrontation. Every time they see you prosper, they will remember the times they tried to destroy you. Every blessing that comes to you will echo in their minds as a reminder of their betrayal. And they will learn that you cannot sow pain into others and expect peace in return. You see, God could have corrected them in secret. He could have disciplined them quietly. But He chose to teach them through your rise, because there's a weight to visible transformation. There's a power in being elevated in the sight of those who once laughed at you. It's not just about proving them wrong, it's about teaching them right. They will learn that what they did matters, that their actions had consequences, that they misjudged someone who was chosen by God. And that realization will not come through your words, but through the undeniable reality of your elevation. They won't just hear it, they will feel it. In their spirit, in their mind, in the stillness of their thoughts, they will be confronted with the truth. And that truth will teach them humility, because they exalted themselves by trying to lower you. It will teach them regret, because they had a chance to support you, to stand by you, but they chose betrayal instead. It will teach them accountability, because your success will expose their failure, not in life, but in character. This is God's justice at work, not through punishment alone, but through revelation. Through your elevation, He reveals who you truly are and who they truly were. There is no escape from that kind of truth. It follows them, shapes them, and demands reflection. And for some, it will be a turning point, a moment where they realize that they cannot live as they did, treating people as they did, and expect peace. They will learn that God defends His own, that mockery is not without consequence, that the one they thought was beneath them is now above, not because of pride, but because of divine favor. And that lesson, burning in their hearts, clear before their eyes, cannot be escaped. Because your elevation will not just restore you, it will change them. Whether in remorse, humility, or silence, they will be transformed by the undeniable fact that your life became their lesson. You were never forgotten, not in the moments when the world seemed to turn its back, not when your name was stained by lies, and not when you stood in the ruins of what others tore down. In every moment of your suffering, God was watching. He saw the betrayal, He heard the mockery, He witnessed the injustice. And while your enemies rejoiced, He was preparing something greater, not just a restoration, but a rise so profound, so undeniable, that those who put you down would be left speechless. This is not just about your comeback. This is about divine justice manifesting through you. God is lifting you, not quietly, not slowly, but with purpose and power, so that those who tried to break you will see that they could not stop what God had ordained. Your suffering was not in vain. Your pain was not wasted. It became the foundation of a testimony that will shake the very souls of those who doubted you. Let them watch. Let them witness. Let them remember every word, every action, every moment they believed you were finished. Because your rise is not just your victory, it's their lesson. And God, in His infinite wisdom, is writing a story through your life that declares to the world, no one can curse what He has blessed. No one can stop what He has begun. So stand tall, hold your head high. You are not the victim they wanted you to be. You are the proof that God lifts, restores, and vindicates. And now, as your life shines brighter, may those who once mocked you see the glory of God through you and be silenced. The tables have turned. This is your time. This is your rise, and they will never forget it. Thank you for watching. If this message spoke to your heart, share your thoughts in the comments. Let the world know God's justice is real and He never forgets His own.